sometimes you can help your nervousness before some situations, and you find yourself kind of almost paralyzed in some instances, and you're like, how do we like get through it, and how can I make it less overwhelming? Well, I'm gonna give you few of the things that work for me, and some are kind of obvious, some are less obvious, so you'll tell me what you think of it. Hi guys, thank you for watching. Welcome back to my channel, and make sure to subscribe and hit the like button if you like the video to support me and help me grow and watch me more. So today I'm going to be talking about things and tips for highly sensitive people, you know, to deal with the world, and things that I do myself when I need to cope with a new situation, or you know, something that I sometimes for things that are unplanned and that kind of like burst out of a sudden in your life, and you kind of need to you know, adjust, or you know, sometimes when you have an event that's gonna come like imminently, like next week or something, you have something to go visit, a new class to go to, a new school, a new job, I don't know. So what do I do when I'm scared for a future event? And I'm gonna tell you, you know, these little tips that can be really helpful. You'll tell me if they help you, and you can also comment and tell me what helps you when you're nervous, even if you're not a highly sensitive person, especially, or you know, if you're shy, or if you're this, or if you're that, you can tell me, you know, because this can help anybody. So make sure you comment, make sure you hit the like button, and let's go. So the first situation I want to talk about is the situation that is planned and that you know is going to happen, even though it stresses you, and there is a lot of anticipation even. And so I'm not talking about the surprise event that you didn't plan that kind of like falls on you and you have to deal with it, because both of them have their pros and cons. You know, as I just said, when something is planned, let's say you start a new job and you know you start it next week, and you know, you're like stressed about it. Oh, my finger just cracked. Did you hear that? It was kind of like satisfying and painful at the same time, but let's go back to where we were talking. So yeah, I was saying that, you know, when you have something planned, it can be actually worse because you anticipate a lot, and then, you know, the nervousness grows and grows and grows to the point where, you know, if it was just learning that you have something to do for tomorrow, you're a little nervous, maybe you're going to be trembling a little bit, you know, like a leaf in, you know, a mildly windy day. When if it's planned for, let's say, in a month, you have all that month to anticipate, and then sometimes when it's actually the day of it, like a public speaking or whatever, then it's almost it's almost overwhelming. Sorry, I was gonna say underwhelming, but no. So, and then it's almost overwhelming when it's more like leaf on a stormy day, you know, that kind of feeling. So I'm going to tell you what, you know, what helps me in these situations. And honestly, I feel like I tend to anticipate a lot, and then whether I want it or not, you know, now I'm kind of, you know, I know about what happens in my brain, the amygdala, like screaming, and I know that I'm going to be fine. I have more confidence and all this, but it still happens. And sometimes, even though I'm pretty calm, I don't mind public speaking if I know what I'm doing. I don't mind, you know, I don't know, all these things that I was telling you about when I meet new people. I'm like, oh, I know how to deal with people now. But I am still somehow trembling. Like my amygdala is still like, hey, it's still new. I know you're fine. I'm not fine. You know, it's like, yeah, we have a conversation like this, and the conversation is physical, and she makes me tremble and baffle. No, wait. In French, you say bafouiller when you talk, and then it just doesn't go the way you want it to. You know, you try to say a word and it doesn't come as the right word, and then, you know, anyway. So my tips, what I do is, first, sometimes you do need to help your anticipation. So, you know, you anticipate, you imagine a lot what could go wrong, or you just imagine, and that kind of like raises your I don't know, blood pressure, nervousness, stress. And so what you want to do, let's say, you know, it's a new job and you only have been there once, so you could always try to go there if it's not too far, and or that just new job, or you know, new school, you can go there and first, you know, walk around and, you know, kind of be familiar with everything around it, because then that's one less stress, you know, because sometimes I find that I tend to overthink with everything, and then, you know, instead of just focusing on, like, let's say, yeah, public speaking, you know, instead of just focusing on what I will have to say and the audience, I'm like, but what if, you know, when I walk on the stage, what if I fall, what if there is something that happens, you know, like there's a lot of things like this. And so I wonder, or like, you know, I don't know where are the things, where, you know, where is the entrance, you know, all these things. And so I find that if it's possible, because sometimes it's not possible to go in, but if it's possible that you can go at least around the building and kind of get familiar with it. And then if possible, you could always call, like, let's say if you're a parent with a highly sensitive kid who is a smaller kid, then the school might be, you know, able to make that adjustment for your kid. And you could just come in advance and just get familiar with the environment, because this is just one less stress that you won't have to think about. You just know how it is, and you don't have to imagine it and wonder if you're gonna trip or if you're gonna be lost and then you're gonna be late, you know, all these things. And so yeah, I find that this is the one thing that can help, like, know the area. And if it's not possible, if you cannot go in, don't worry, just be around. And then trust yourself that you're just gonna follow the right people, or, you know, it's gonna be fine. Like, people survive, they do it. But again, if you can, you can just let your brain not overthink it. That's the first step. Then the second step is sometimes, you know, ask for a friend to think about you at that moment. And I know, or like, you know, a family member. And I know sometimes that is not helpful enough, but just knowing sometimes that you have the emotional support, or if they can come, let's say it's public speaking, and they can come and watch you, or sometimes you don't want them to watch. But, you know, if you can have their support at that moment, and you know it, and that's a comfort thought, then I think, I don't know, that was kind of helpful for me as well, to just know that, you know, if I feel overwhelmed and then it doesn't go as planned, and then, you know, I'm like, oh my god, I failed everything and all this, I'm like, okay, at least I have, you know, this person thinking about me, and everything's gonna go well, and tonight I'm gonna be, you know, safe and all this, you know. So it's something small, but it's always nice to have like some comfort things. Third tip is also about not having to overthink everything and adding, you know, discomfort to the whole discomfort situation already. Dress comfortable, but also, you know, in a way that makes you feel confident but comfortable. You don't want to have that new dress that you put that's too long and that you might trip on, you know, again, because you probably will not trip, but you don't want to have to think about it or feel like, oh no, it's too long, you know, and kind of like be scared of it. So I would say, you know, that dress comfortably with clothes that you know but make you feel confident. Comfortable, confident. On the same level as well with comfort and all this, don't eat something new. Eat the things, the foods that you know make you feel good, you know, give you energy as well, and you know won't really mess up your digestion. So make sure that you eat food that gives you energy, but that does not stress you, and nothing new that will give a reaction to your body that you don't feel, you know, good with. One thing that helps me as well is listening to music. Music has been my therapy for so long. You know, some people, they I don't know, for example, my mom is not as into, like, she likes music, but she's not into music like I am. So sometimes just listening to something calming and doing some meditation at the same time, and staying, you know, immobile can help. You just want to make sure that you will have a moment where you can just recharge. So if, let's say, you will need to go to the bathroom and just, you know, sit there and just be able to be alone, because sometimes you will just find yourself a little overwhelmed with everyone else, and you'll just need to recharge for a bit. So being alone and recharge, so you can do that, you know, again in the bathroom, or if you know that there is like a place that you can go, same. And then with the music, it can help as well, and you don't need to stay there for long, but, you know, just breathe and know that, you know, if it's overwhelming, you always have a place. No matter where you go, there will always be bathrooms, you know. And I would say last, which should be the first one as well, but it's because it's kind of simple. You want to plan, make sure you have everything ready that you're gonna need, you know, like, I don't know, let's say tissues just in case you have a runny nose, you know, water in case you're thirsty, you know, all these things. You just want to plan everything so you don't have anything uncomfortable happening to you. If there is like anything, even if something is not too uncomfortable, but for you feel like it's going to be a distraction, then make sure that even if you have something that's not too uncomfortable, but it would be a distraction, just make sure you have everything for it, so anything that makes you uncomfortable, usually that you like pump your level of comfort to the maximum by bringing basically comfort with you, like baby wipes. I like to have these facial mists that are calming, and they just make you feel more fresh and just more comfortable, but these are not like too important. But make sure if you're about to have your period that you get something for this as well, just so it doesn't jump out of nowhere. I don't know, just these things that can make it more comfortable for you. And again, believe in yourself. Know that, because I know, like, to me at my level, I don't necessarily need to do all these things anymore. My level, as if there is like, but yeah, I mean, there is kind of like a stairs of climbing of the because now I feel like my prefrontal cortex has the tools to help the amygdala, but sometimes there are more or less scary situations, and sometimes I still need to make sure that I prepare everything so I am super comfortable, to the point where sometimes I over prepare rather than missing something and then being annoyed and distracted by it. So I don't really need to do all these things again, but also it depends on the situation. Again, these are my tips. There are probably others that I don't think about right now, but we can always do more videos later. So this is for the planned situation. Now, let's talk about the surprise situation that just falls on you, and then you had your, I don't know if it happens a lot for you. I feel like for me it happened a lot because I have a lot of last minute things in my job. So sometimes I had my whole day planned. I had, like my schedule, which I love. I also love not following the schedule, and doing things like once in a while, like out of the blue. But I do like a routine and a schedule that helps me feel like I am productive, and also just like comfortable again with everything that I do. And then okay, I just like it. I don't have to justify myself, but I do have these moments where suddenly, oh no, you have to go in town to go to that casting, and you have to, and then it takes me like a little bit of time out of my day because I have to prepare a certain way, because you don't dress the same way, and then and sometimes, I mean, now I'm okay with this. But sometimes I had days also where it was like, oh, finally, tomorrow you actually fly to London for 2 days and you're gonna have a job. And it's great news, like, oh, wow, it's great and it's for a great brand and all this. But it would stress me because I was like, but it's tomorrow and I have nothing planned for it. And I'm like, and then I can tell you these situations, so there is this moment where like, oh, I mean, it's great, but you cannot have joy as fast because you are like, oh, but I did not prepare, I still have to do this and this and this and this, and I just want to tell you, first you will need to breathe, like always breathe. There was a yoga teacher that I loved who is so good, who taught me, remember your breath, and it is actually true. Like, if you can breathe, you're okay. So just remember to breathe and let it go 5 seconds, and remember that first, it is good news. Maybe it's not, right? I'm talking about good news, which was already, sometimes uncomfortable, but so I cannot imagine, if it's bad news. But in any case, it's like, do I have the choice? Can I change this? Can I say no? You always have kind of a choice, but sometimes, these things are so important situations that you cannot say no. So, no. So you're gonna have to go through it. So instead of making everything harder by thinking about how everything is, last minute and you have nothing planned about, it's like, let go. You're like, okay, I know I don't like that it's last minute. I know it's going to be harder for me because I need things to be planned and all this, but what can I do right now? Let's go for it and prepare for it with the little time that you have, and then let's go through it, because again, I have to go through it. So instead of losing time, like, getting scared or annoyed or bothered, just go through it, and that's anytime that happened, I realized that I was kind of bothered by the last minute thing, but then it was also some of the best moments because it did make me appreciate more the moment, because it's also the instant. You don't have to anticipate anything, so I was telling you, there is like this situation where it catches you off guard. I'm still learning my expressions. So it catches you off guard, and maybe that's, you know, pretty annoying, and it kind of also annoys you for everything else you had planned to do. But you don't have the anticipation to be scared for that thing, you know, so that's pretty good. When, you know, when something is planned, yes, it's good, but then you keep thinking about it until like it comes and it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger, you know. So just appreciate also that sometimes last minute is good, and then it makes you, you know, life is a succession of moments after all. So when something just pops out of the blue, well, it's a moment and you can make it positive. Again, I'm talking about the positive surprises because I know when it's not a very positive surprise, it can be a complete different feeling. But in that case, again, do you have the choice? Most likely you can have the choice, but you will have to go through it. And so just like let go of all the kind of like the superficial annoyance, you know, when you're like, oh, it bothers me because it came out of nowhere and all this you have to let go, and then just go to whatever problem it is that you have to solve. And again, you know, if you are a highly sensitive person, because this video is about this, you are probably someone also very observing, and you will be able to solve this problem maybe better than other people depending what kind of problem it is. So just believe in yourself as well, and then again, just go through it step by step. And I just have to say, in that case, there is not much preparation. Just make sure that you do, you know, that last tip that I had for the first situation, to make sure that you have everything comfortable with you. You can still grab a comfort bag with you, but that's the situation where you will be able to plan less because it's a surprise, and you actually have to find the positive aspect in not being able to plan. But yeah, I think that's kind of it. Let me know if these are helpful for you. I think for some people they can be extreme, you know, these kind of tips, especially, you know, for the first one being like, oh, go there and look around and, you know, but I do find that for people who can be very nervous, they can be really, really life-changing. So don't hesitate actually doing it. And that can be also like just starting a new class, right? Like new class of acting. I had at first, the first time I started new class, I had to go there and just know where the building was, because at least, you know, I knew I wouldn't have to deal with being late. So just like I told you, and that's the same with I don't know, dancing class or whatever. So just know that it's not ridiculous. And again, you know, talking about it can make it, you know, more intense than it is, but these are small things, if you're able to go, if you know, if it's not too far from your place, that are actually going to be life-changing at that moment. So don't hesitate doing that. And again, comment if you have your tips that I somehow forgot, obvious tips, but also if you have your, you know, unique tips that work for you and you want to share. So make sure you do that. So make sure to comment. Let me know what you thought of this video. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and we'll meet very soon for a new video. So thank you. Bye.